We're heading into the final 2 days of the Democratic National Convention. Today we'll hear from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and former President Bill Clinton.
Joining us in studio this morning is Democratic strategist Peter Giangreco. Thanks so much for being here.
Great to be here as always.
The highlight last night was the Obamas taking the stage. We hadn't heard much from them since Kamala Harris took over the top of the ticket. What was your reaction to their message to America last night?
I think it was interesting because it was a little bit of a departure on how they set up the contrast with former President Trump. Instead of making this big, ominous figure, they kind of cut him down to size. It sort of made his gripes sound trivial and sort of old and tired. And it was sort of something that made him diminished instead of this ominous figure. I think it's an interesting way to come at it because I think people maybe have gotten tired of the same back and forth all the time. So I think the Obamas really laid out a call to action if you're a Democrat and gave you some things to think about if you're an independent or Republican.
Yeah, and that's what you led me right into my next question, because as we're watching this, is this a way for Democrats to strengthen their base, or are they really looking at ways to kind of hook onto those independent voters and get them onto their side, and maybe even some Republicans who are kind of like iffy on whether or not they want to support Trump again?
Well, I think it's both. You got to do both to win in these elections that are so close in the battleground states. You got to motivate your base, and you have to reach out to people. You know, they've had former Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger is speaking at this convention. They had the Republican mayor of Mesa, Arizona, who said, you know, these guys have kind of left us. Tonight's theme is freedom. And that's been one of the biggest changes you've seen in the, you know, Ronald Reagan's Republican Party was small government, stay out of my personal life. This one, and we've talked about it before, is more, we're going to tell you who to love, you know, whether to have kids, what books your kids are going to read, and that doesn't sound like freedom. So I think you'll hear Speaker Pelosi, Bill Clinton, Pete Buttigieg talk about those things tonight.
Well, and I'm going to step in there because Republicans would argue that, you know, by forcing everyone to get the COVID vaccine, as Democrats did, or maybe by forcing certain beliefs onto people, that necessarily isn't freedom either. But I know Brian has a question, but I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate here, trying to play both sides, right?
And speaking of tonight, we're going to hear from Governor Walz, who's 2 weeks ago, most of Americans probably had no idea who he was. Outside of, you know, the Midwest or people deep in political circles. What do you think will be the target of his speech tonight?
Well, I think there'll be some pointed criticisms of the other side. But I think what they really want to do is to connect to people who feel kind of left out of the process. So here's a guy who comes from a rural area, was a school teacher, a football coach, served 24+ years in the National Guard. There's a lot of appeal to people that say, geez, in this back and forth between the parties, where am I? Tim Walz is the sort of, you know, your favorite uncle, you know, who is a regular guy. And I think he'll pay homage to people who do serve.
Now, we've heard Trump's name mentioned, I think the count was after the first night, when you tally up all the speeches, 150 times. But we only heard, you know, immigration mentioned 6 times, and the economy mentioned 5 times. Those are the 2 biggest issues for voters right now. Are we going to hear more policy from the Democrats? Because I think that's what people are so eager to hear. You know, if Kamala does become president, what's going to happen next, you know?
I think that's going to be the focus of Thursday night, which is for our future. You'll hear a lot more of what Vice President Harris laid out in that speech on Friday in Raleigh, what the economy is going to look like. Are we going to do tax cuts for working class and working people, or we're going to do the Trump tax cuts of corporations for the wealthy? Are we going to talk about repealing the affordable health care, or we're going to try to bring down costs for people? So you'll see more of that economic contrast, I think, Thursday night, especially in Kamala Harris's remarks.
Well, I'll be looking forward to see what happens on night number 3 here at the DNC. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thanks, Peter. We appreciate it. I know Peter had a very late night. So thank you for coming in.
Trombone shorty, can't miss it.
Rolled right in.